In a video a little different today, I'm going to be explaining what I believe would be a fitting story for whenever we get our hands on Red Dead Redemption 3, but after watching, be sure to let me know in the comment section as to whether you agree or disagree, or what you think would be a good narrative instead. The following is something I've discussed before, but I wanted to go a little more in depth today. Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming. If you've enjoyed the following, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, after watching, please consider doing so. Without further delay, let's begin. So with the original two titles, 2010's release of Red Dead Redemption and its prequel, Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, we take the reins of both John Marston and Arthur Morgan, two top gunmen under the leadership of one Dutch van der Linde. And although both narratives are incredible, the fact of the matter is, the entire tale of the van der Linde gang has been told. Now I'm sure that some would love to see the continuation of tales such as the likes of Sadie Adler, Charles Smith or even Jack Marston, but I think a more open idea would be to introduce a set of entirely new cast and characters instead, as well as of course a brand new protagonist. But this time there's a slight twist. What if the main character was a lawman? Now I understand that the primaries of the first two titles focus on the outlaw lifestyle, with the latter tale of John Marston trying to evade his past, but what if we went more in depth with a similar tale such as this? Hear me out. The protagonist would be a former outlaw turned lawman. This is something that wasn't uncommon during the days of the American frontier, with the likes of Henry Newton Brown or Virgil Earp travelling similar paths. Red Dead Redemption 3 could enhance on this, giving us insight as to why the character turned to the badge in a tale told through a series of flashback events. Was there a crime committed so atrocious and disgusting to the player that they realised that the life of an outlaw or criminal wasn't for them? Do they seek to track down former associates following said events? Something along the lines of how John Marston would in Red Dead Redemption 1, or how Cleet abandoned Micah Bell in the epilogue of Red Dead Redemption 2. We could also explore a deep history and bonds between a lawman and his family. Imagine if their family were known criminals and the protagonist was torn between loyalty to those he loved and the badge. Which one would they favour in times of dire circumstances? Would the family triumph over the badge or vice versa? And what of the history of the protagonists themselves? The game could be set around the Civil War era, and depending on whether it's a male or female, they could be a soldier returning from battle or a wife who's been forced to protect their home in their husband's absence. This could also dictate the starting location of the protagonist, depending on whether they fought for the North or the South. Scenarios such as these could introduce key gameplay aspects as well to the title. Something smaller, such as a meter rating system, law-abiding or law-breaking if you will. We could also stretch to different branches of storylines, similar to how the likes of Until Dawn would, where one decision early on could dramatically affect an outcome much later. But reiterating back to the family, what if the protagonist was sent to hunt down their own siblings or cousins, for example, someone they grew up with? Would they choose to assist them or ignore their dastardly deeds or apprehend them? In-depth character arc to close family or friends could really make the player choices more difficult, as opposed to Arthur and Mary in Red Dead Redemption 2, whereas most players, including myself, only pursued the manipulative relationship for the sake of the narrative. Would some family members or friends be more understanding of the protagonist's position? Would others fall out with you because of the badge you hold? We could also explore the narrative aspect that one of your colleagues would become wary of your criminal ways and threaten to expose you if you turned a blind eye to crimes, possibly then blackmailing you into covering up their own dastardly dealings, a secondary antagonist if you will. What if your family members become aware of your colleagues' intentions and took matters into their own hands, now placing the protagonist into a compromising position where you yourself are now under the watchful eye of the law? To expand a little on the gameplay aspect of this, the protagonist could be open to bribery from local stores or gangs, once again altering their rating meter. And what happens if you choose to pursue this aspect more often? Will the local settlements take your authoritative word less seriously? Or if you uphold the law to a certain degree, would the townsfolk fear retribution, bringing crime down in that area? There are so many different options concerning this that it would certainly heighten the replayability value. Two different playthroughs could tell two entirely different stories. It would also be very interesting to see the different variations of NPCs one could encounter along the way, especially as the narrative progresses, and depending on the choices you've made so far would differentiate in respect to this. Regardless, whenever we do get our hands on the next installment in the Red Dead Redemption series, even if it's titled entirely different, it's sure to be an enjoyable experience. But as of right now, let's all look forward to the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 next year. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think of the narrative idea? Do you agree, disagree, were there points you'd add or take away, or would you prefer something entirely different? Apologies for the shorter video today guys, this was just an idea I wanted to get out there whilst working on other projects. Regardless, if you enjoyed what you saw today, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. With that being said, and thank you all for watching, you've been listening to Phil of Philby Gaming, and I'll see you in the next video.